Can you hear me? Never used one of these. Hello? Okay. Hi, Sanaya. Right here? Okay. Noah loved being with people and always wanted to include everyone in his celebration, as is evident in this wonderful turnout for his celebration of life today. I'm Nancy Yates, Noah's wife of 54 memorable years. He loved adventure, walking, hiking, cycling, swimming, canoeing, whitewater rafting, rock climbing, zip lining, waterfall rappelling, dog sledding, parasailing. You name it, he wanted to do it, and he did it. And he loved starting projects, not always finishing them. Noah passed away quietly in his sleep, finally relinquishing his body to God. Over the last 7 years, when he was first diagnosed with dementia, he was silently robbed of his memories and ability to do the things he loved to do. I'm grateful for all the memories of Noah being shared and remembered. Noah was born in a charming town, Chillicothe, Ohio, on October 2nd, 1947. His sister Ricky, born 1 year later, and he were inseparable growing up. They didn't have a great relationship with their parents, but they had each other. Noah loved comic books and learned to fish. He told the story of how when teaching his sister to cast a fishing rod, she tossed it back, hooked his lip, and let it fly, along with a chunk of his lip. "Don't tell Mom," said Ricky, plea as he ran around across the yard in pain. Noah loved his sister very much, and in his final months, Noah asked to talk to her often and lit up like a Christmas tree when he heard her voice as they shared memories of their childhood. Noah briefly joined Cub Scouts and enjoyed it a lot, but his parents didn't, and they pulled him out after a year. Later in life, still determined to be a scout, Noah became a scout leader, and I'll share more about that later. Many scouts had military parents who got deployed for months at a time, and Noah moved heaven and earth to make sure they could all participate, so no one had to miss out like he did. Whatever Noah wanted to do, his sister joined him. Even though their parents never went to church, they made sure Noah and Ricky attended Sunday school, church service, and joined the choir. This was so they could have their Sundays to themselves. Later in life, when we joined a church and were reading the Bible, Noah would say, "I remember these stories from when I heard them in Sunday school. The Bible says my word will not return to me empty, but accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. God's word never returns without having fulfilled its purpose, and so even in the 60s, it rekindled a love to read the Bible." At 11 years old, he started delivering the Columbus Dispatch and recruited Ricky to join him. After 6 years as a newspaper boy, he started working at Page News, a local news magazine store that had allowed him to read comic books on the job, until one day he was the victim of a stick-up. "Hands up!" An older man pulled a gun on him, took him to the back room, and shut Noah inside, robbed the register, and fled. Noah was so scared when the robber jabbed the gun into his chest. Later on, he would continue to show me exactly where that gun left a bruise in his chest. Noah loved music. His high school years were filled with playing the trumpet in the high school marching band, the first high school band on national TV. When Jacob took up the trumpet, he showed him how to play a few songs, setting the bar for his son. He could even play taps on the used bugle he bought when he became a scoutmaster. After high school, Noah attended Ohio University, go Bobcats, from the Chillicothe Satellite Campus. He worked at Giant Market in the sporting good department, drilling bowling balls for customers. He would often tell me, "I'm probably the only one who drilled the holes for his own bowling ball." He spent the summer before he enlisted in the Navy working at Meade Paper Factory, where he said he had a new appreciation for his mother, who had worked in the paper factory for 5 years, as he watched the women picking up those huge, heavy sheets of paper to count. Noah wanted to be a history teacher, but that plan changed when he was eligible for the draft to go fight a war in Vietnam. He didn't know how long he could keep working long hours to finance his 12 units of college, so he would not be drafted. At the time, Noah said 4 draftees were taken into a room. One stood in each corner, and they assigned you Army, you Navy, you Marine, or Air Force. To avoid being a soldier in the infantry, he enlisted in the Navy like his dad. Noah left home to go fight for his country, saying goodbye to Ohio, attending boot camp way outside Chicago on the Grand Lakes base. While there, Chicago suffered the worst blizzard in Chicago history. He got really good at shoveling piles of snow. He said that experience made him never to want to shovel snow again. One weekend on leave from boot camp, he went into Chicago. Before he left, all seamen were briefed to avoid any political controversy or protest over the Vietnam War, as the protests over the Vietnam War were fierce. While downtown in his Navy uniform, he saw a group of men off in the distance coming his way. He asked people who it was, since people were getting excited. It was Dr. Martin Luther King. When Noah heard that, he hurried away to avoid controversy, as he was told. Later, when Noah was visiting Alex and Sharon, who had moved to Chicago, he shared how he regretted not staying put and possibly shaking Dr. King's hand. When Noah got his orders to North Island, his only thought on the way out in the airplane was, I wonder how far off that North Island is from the coast. I wonder how often I'll be able to come into the mainland. Imagine his relief when he learned it was attached to a peninsula. Noah and I met at a dance at St. Joseph's Cathedral. Noah told me later that he was captivated by my laughing and came over to ask me to dance. He loved calling me his California blonde. It didn't come out until years later, as his 60th birthday party, that he always liked brunettes better. One of our favorite songs was Devil with the Blue Dress On. Hence, in later years, we dressed up for Halloween with him as the angel and me as the devil. Our first date was hiking in the Cuyamaca Mountains, and there was snow on the ground. Noah was startled when I hit him in the face with a snowball. Who does that on their first date? Maybe it was because I had not done a lot of dating, and of course I grew up with 4 brothers. Well, Noah, the fun-loving guy I grew to love, just picked up another snowball and shoved it down the back of my neck, both of us laughing. Noah was smitten with me and me with him. Soon Noah got the thumbs up from my 4 brothers, Tom, Jim, John, and Bob. We all took a vote. They said, Noah's in, Nancy's out. Never having had brothers, Noah loved the embrace of this new family so far from home. He proposed after a year and converted to Catholicism so we could be married on March 29, 1969, in the church where we met. Noah regretted that his parents and sister couldn't be there. 3 months later, he was off to Vietnam on July the 4th. Noah serviced planes at an airstrip in Da Nang, Vietnam, and avoided any encounters with the Vietnamese army, making his plan to enlist pay off in ways we'll never know. On Christmas Eve in Vietnam, Noah was attending a USO show featuring Bob Hope and Neil Armstrong, and unbeknownst to him, he became a father to our son, Noah Jacob Yates III. In March 1970, Jacob and I flew to Hawaii to meet him on R&R, which means rest and relaxation for those in a war zone. His buddies asked him, why are you having your wife bring your baby? He said, because if I don't make it home, I want him to be able to say at least he saw me. We are so thankful he made it home. What are you doing here? Was my response when, in typical Yates fashion, Noah surprised Jacob and me in July 1970 when he unexpectedly arrived home. The Yates family loved to surprise folks by arriving unannounced on your doorstep. While I loved that he was finally home, I wanted everything to be perfect, and here I was in curlers, and the house was a mess. Later, when his parents dropped by without notice while on a road trip from Vancouver to Ohio, he saw surprises differently. He didn't stop them, of course. He just recognized how surprises aren't always fun for everyone. Noah used the electrical skills he learned in the Navy to land a position at Pacific Bell, which later became AT&T. He retired as a senior engineer after 43 years in December 2013. Our second son, Alexander, was born in 1972, and we bought our home in Mira Mesa in 1975. Noah took to suburban life, but living near a canyon, he was alarmed to learn that house developers wanted to build homes all the way down to the canyon floor and were even talking of putting a freeway down the middle of it. Noah got politically active the following year by joining a community activist group formed to save Penasquitos Canyon. In 1977, he had joined the Mira Mesa Planning Group and reached out to Roger Hedgecock, our county supervisor, who later became mayor of San Diego, to rally support for Prop C to preserve Penasquitos Canyon. In 1978, he joined the Mira Mesa Town Council to promote the building of a senior center, saying, "I'm only 30 years old, but I think seniors need all the help they can get, and I think the council can help get that building. It's unbelievable how many seniors are in Mira Mesa. They talk about Mira Mesa being a baby boom town, but there's a lot of senior citizens." In the early 1990s, a senior center was built at the Mira Mesa Community Park. Noah co-hosted a Penasquitos Park Day in May, generating lots of media attention and support to keep the canyon as is. A month later, Prop C passed, and Noah received a special commendation from both the city and county for his work in establishing the Penasquitos Canyon Preserve. Then came our scouting years. I remember soon after Noah returned from Vietnam, hearing him tell Jacob, who was a baby in his crib, "Someday you'll be in Cub Scouts and your mom will be a den mother." When Jacob came home from a school with a flyer to join Cub Scouts, Noah was all in. Cub Master Dean Carbine immediately came over with a leader application. When Noah said I wanted to be a den mother, Dean replied, "Oh, we don't have den mothers, we have den leaders." I had the biggest grin as I pointed to Noah to fill out the application to become a den leader. And that's how Noah Yates rekindled his love for scouting. Someone took the time to make him feel he belonged. From Cub Scout leader to Cub Master, Noah was in his element. I was afraid of what surprises lay ahead, so I suggested we join the Sierra Club to learn high adventure skills. And we did. We geared up and did high adventure weekends, learning backpacking, rock climbing, and snow camping, while our sons went to grandmas or uncles and quickly went from rookies to pro when it came to the great outdoors. When I hear how our grandchildren, Greg and Kat and Kayla and Sienna, are rock climbing, it takes me back. To make the adventure seeking a bit easier, Noah bought a big blue van in 1981. Some called it the Ark, Noah's Ark. He later got a CB radio, and everyone who rode in it got a CB handle. Noah's handle was Rainmaker. Do you remember your CB handle? The van went over 330,000 miles before sputtering out. In 1982, our third son was born, Nicholas Joseph Yates. We now had a Neapolitan of sons with hair that's brown, blonde, and red. Without missing a beat, Noah led the family on incredible adventures. When Nick was 3 months old, we took him hiking to Cougar Canyon near 29 Palms with the Swensrud family. When Nick turned 5 months old, the family was hiking out of the Grand Canyon after an incredible week at Havasu Falls, again with the Swensruds. The Sequoias the next year. This was in addition to scouting adventures. Noah had a strong desire to explore the outdoors at every opportunity. And he had an insatiable appetite to learn and make scouting activities fun for everyone, like his use of black powder at flag ceremonies, igniting flash pods that melted hidden fishing line holding American flag that would unfurl in dramatic fashion, and his creation of the Soapbox Derby, where scouts made cubmobiles and raced down the steep Montongo Street. It became a signature event, and scouting recruitment grew to over 70 scouts and was featured on local TV. When Jacob crossed over from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts, Noah established Troop 1212. He loved scouting and dedicated every minute of his spare time to developing fun ways to teach the boys skills and values they would use their entire life. Sometimes I didn't know who was having more fun, Noah or the Scouts. So many generations of young men benefited from Noah's caring mentorship. And thank you all from the Scouts for coming today. Noah loved being with people, and he always wanted to include the families. He loved cycling and hiking and got dads and moms of Scouts engaged to participate. Who but Noah could get parents to ride our bikes 20 miles at midnight around San Diego City, organizing breakfast walks along La Jolla, cycling dinner rides along San Diego Harbor to Spaghetti Factory or Mission Bay into Old Town, Noah would have to remind everyone, limit yourself to one daiquiri or one margarita. Remember, you have to get back on your bike and ride back to your car. After 40 years, we still have those friendships today. Noah got me out of my comfort zone in many ways, getting me politically active, supporting my dream of teaching and opening up my own Happy Time preschool. He built me a flight cage so we could save birds for Project Wildlife, helping him chair countless training programs and events and help me build confidence in myself. When I became Sandburg's PTA president and had to preside over large events, I felt comfortable because I knew Noah had gotten me to where I was. Noah encouraged me to try new and adventurous things like waterfall rappelling and zip lining over the canopies of Costa Rica, whitewater rafting and parasailing, and hot air balloon and dog sledding in Alaska. We took 3 cross-country trips riding our bicycles through over 30 covered bridges. Whenever I felt unsure of myself, like when I was asked to lead a women's Bible study, Noah reminded me that God doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. He always supported me in whatever I wanted to do. But most important of all, he taught me how to engage people and connect with him. He could tell great stories, but he was even a better listener, and I still need to work on that. Noah loved Harry Potter, and he would have us line up at midnight when the first issue from the series were available. He loved sharing his love with those around him dressed up in Harry Potter costume. He wanted to make sure the books would be available to young children, so he always bought at least 5, sometimes 10 extra books and dropped them off at the Mira Mesa Library. The librarian was astonished at Noah's generosity, and he'd just smile and say, "I just want the kids to be able to read these great books." Noah was always so observant, whether it was in nature, seeing an animal hiding in the trees, a bird sitting high in the branches, or looking at the latest moon phase that appeared in the night sky. He loved the rain, but most of all, he loved walking in the rain. I did not. But when he asked me to go walking in the rain at 1 a.m. with that irresistible smile with his dimples, how could I resist? It's a memory that I cherish. While Noah was a great observer of nature and people, I am not. It became a running family joke how long it would take me to notice things like him shaving off his mustache and lamb chop sideburns. Thanks to Noah, I have learned to be more observant and take time to see the animals, the birds, and even notice when the moon is waxing or waning. We had many laughs over the year, and Noah also taught me to live in the moment, take each day, each moment, and savor it, to enjoy it. God uses others to teach you lesson. The last few years on Noah's health declined, I would pray from Isaiah, "I am the Lord, and when it's time, I will make these things happen quickly." How much longer, God? How much longer until Noah finds peace? I felt God saying, "You have not learned patience yet." In Noah's final weeks, his final lesson to me was patience. It was a singular moment. He had made a big mess, and I realized I didn't mind. I was happy to be of service. He needed me, and I was there for him with a full and patient heart. In that moment, I felt a whoosh of heaviness leave my body and felt so refreshed. It was shortly thereafter that Noah stopped eating and could no longer walk. I was anxious that Noah might become frustrated and upset that he could no longer walk. But as God says in Philippians, do not be anxious for anything, and the peace of God will give your hearts rest. Once he laid his head on the pillow, he slept, no longer talking, opening his eyes only briefly a few minutes every day as he was getting ready to take a long trip home. We had a family gathering that night, and everyone was there to say their goodbyes. The next morning I went over, and he was gone, and it was like he was saying, "The party's over, I'm out of here." Together, Noah and I have been blessed with a wonderful life together. He didn't have a good relationship with his dad, but he broke that cycle of abuse and negativity to become a model father, not just for his sons, but for other dads and their sons who have become dads. I want to thank all of you in the last few years that have taken time to take Noah for a hike or walk around the neighborhood. One of his favorite memories was whenever he saw Black Mountain, he would say with a proud smile, "I hiked up that big mountain." Thank you, Keith Swensard. The outpouring of love and support we have received these past couple months has been amazing. We had so much time together these past few years to just sit and talk. He'd say, "Why am I still here? I can't do much." When we would go to church, Noah would always go in and sit down in the second row, aisle seat, while I visited with some friends outside. One Sunday when I came in to sit down beside him, his face looked concerned, and I asked him what was the matter. He said, "People keep going by saying, 'Hi, Noah, hi, Noah, hi, Noah,' and I don't know their names." I said, "You don't need to know their names. Just smile and say hello, and they will see the light of Jesus' love shining through your eyes and know you're okay." Noah never met a stranger. Noah lived his life with joy, humor, compassion, and service. He will be missed by all who knew him, but the memories he gives us will live on forever. "Show me who you love, and I'll show you who you are," is a favorite family motto. Today's gathering of family, friends, neighbors shown us all something about who Noah is.